Today we will travel back to the Tudor era, one of the most dramatic dynasties in English history. This was a time of kings and queens, where love intertwined with power and ambition often led to tragedy. We will talk about the children of Henry VIII, the king whose desire for a son turned the country upside down. His heirs, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward, became symbols of power, but their lives were full of scandals, losses, and broken hopes. Add to that illegitimate children and the shadow of miscarriages, and you will see how the dynasty balanced on the edge of the abyss. Sit back, pour yourself a cup of tea, and let's dive into this story step by step, with details that bring the past to life. Henry VIII ascended the throne in 1509, full of youthful enthusiasm. He was only 17 and seemed like the ideal king, tall, athletic, educated. But his dynasty, the Tudors, was relatively new. His father, Henry VII, had won the crown at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485, ending the War of the Roses. The Tudors ruled England from 1485 to 1603, and their reign was marked by the Reformation, discoveries, and endless intrigue. Henry VII and his wife Elizabeth of York had 7 children, but only 4 survived. Arthur, who died at the age of 15 from illness. Henry, the future Henry VIII. Margaret, Queen of Scotland, and Mary, Queen of France. Already here we see the shadow of tragedy. Arthur's death made Henry the heir, but also bound him to his brother's widow, Catherine of Aragon. Henry married Catherine in 1509, hoping to forge a strong alliance with Spain. She was 6 years older than him, intelligent and devout. Their marriage began with love, but was quickly overshadowed by problems with heirs. Catherine had many pregnancies. Historians count 6 official ones, but only 1 daughter survived, Mary, born in 1516. The rest ended in miscarriages or stillbirths. One son, Henry, Prince of Wales, was born in 1511 but died 52 days later. This broke the king's heart. Henry blamed it on a curse. After all, Catherine was his brother's wife, and the Bible, Leviticus 20:21, warned of childlessness in such unions. A scandal was brewing. The king began to doubt the legality of the marriage, which led to the Great Schism with Rome in 1533. Mary Tudor, Henry's eldest daughter, was born in Greenwich and surrounded by luxury from childhood. She was named after her grandmother Mary of York and inherited her mother's Spanish beauty, dark hair and pale skin. In her youth, Mary was betrothed to several princes, from France to Spain, but all the engagements fell through. When Henry annulled his marriage to Catherine in 1533, Mary was declared illegitimate. She was 17 and lost her status as a princess, forced to serve her half-sister Elizabeth. It was a blow. Mary, a Catholic to the core, saw her father destroy monasteries and introduce Protestantism. Her mother died in exile in 1536, possibly of cancer, whispering prayers. Mary suffered from depression, menstrual pain, and loneliness. Later, becoming queen in 1553 as Mary I, she tried to return England to Catholicism by burning Protestants, for which she earned the nickname Bloody Mary. Her marriage to Philip II of Spain in 1554 was scandalous. He was 11 years younger, and the English feared Spanish influence. Mary thought she was pregnant twice, but these turned out to be false pregnancies, possibly due to a cyst or cancer. She died in 1558 at the age of 42, childless, leaving the throne to her sister. Mary's tragedy was that she lost everything: her mother, her status, her faith, and her dream of having a child. While Catherine struggled with her pregnancies, Henry did not sit idly by. He had mistresses, and one of them, Elizabeth Bessie Blount, gave birth to a son in 1519, Henry Fitzroy. Fitzroy means son of the king, and Henry openly acknowledged him, making him Duke of Richmond. Fitzroy was a healthy, handsome boy, and the king saw him as a potential heir. Scandalous? Of course. It highlighted Catherine's infertility. Fitzroy married Mary Howard in 1533, but died in 1536 at the age of 17 from tuberculosis. His death was a quiet tragedy. Henry lost his only surviving son at that time. There are rumors of other illegitimate children, from Mary Boleyn, Anne's sister. Her children, Catherine and Henry Carey, were born in the 1520s, and some historians suggest Henry's paternity. Catherine became a lady-in-waiting to Anne Cromwell and outlived the dynasty, but her life was marred by rumors. Henry Carey became Baron Hansdon and served Elizabeth I. These children lived in the shadow of scandal, never officially recognized. Now let's move on to Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife, whose passion turned England upside down. Anne, intelligent and ambitious, refused to be a mistress, demanding the crown. They married in 1533 after the annulment of his first marriage. Anne quickly became pregnant and gave birth in September to a daughter, Elizabeth. Henry was disappointed. He had been expecting a son, but named her a princess. Elizabeth was born in Greenwich with her father's red hair and her mother's black eyes. Her christening was lavish, but soon everything changed. Anne suffered two miscarriages, one in 1534 and another in 1536, allegedly a deformed fetus, which fueled rumors of witchcraft. Henry accused Anne of adultery with 5 men, including her brother George. It was a huge scandal. In 1536, a court convicted Anne of adultery, incest, and treason. She was executed by sword on May 19, 1536. Elizabeth, only 2 years old, was declared illegitimate and sent to Hatfield House. She spent her childhood in disgrace. She wore her sister Mary's old dresses and studied alone. Later, under Edward VI, she was accused of conspiring with Thomas Seymour, a scandal involving kissing and flirting that nearly cost her her head. Elizabeth survived imprisonment in the Tower during Mary's reign, where she feared execution. Becoming queen in 1558, she ruled for 44 years as the Virgin Queen, but without children. The Tudor dynasty died out with her in 1603. Her tragedy was the loss of her mother in childhood, constant fear and loneliness on the throne. After Anne's execution, Henry married Jane Seymour, a quiet, obedient lady-in-waiting. She finally gave him a son. Edward was born on October 12, 1537 at Hampton Court. The joy was immense. The bells rang for 3 days, and Henry wept with happiness. But Jane died 12 days later from postpartum fever. Edward, a frail boy, grew up under strict supervision. He was kept in isolation to avoid illness. He was intelligent, a Protestant, and wrote treatises against the Pope at the age of 9. In 1547, at the age of 9, he became Edward VI. His reign was marked by reforms, but his health failed. In 1553, at the age of 15, he fell ill with tuberculosis, or possibly poisoning. Before his death, he changed his will, excluding his sisters and appointing Jane Grey as queen, a scandal that led to Jane's 9-day reign and her execution. Edward died in Greenwich, whispering prayers. His death was a tragedy for a young king whose life was too short for great plans. Let's not forget the other wives and their children. Anne of Cleves, the 4th wife, was rejected without children. Henry called her a Flanders mare. Catherine Howard, the 5th, was executed in 1542 for adultery at the age of 19. She was a teenager when she married the 49-year-old king. The scandal involving her lovers, Thomas Culpeper and Francis Derham, shook the court. The last wife, Catherine Parr, outlived Henry but had no children by him. The Tudors were a dynasty of tragedies. Henry VIII died in 1547 from obesity, ulcers, and possibly syphilis, leaving behind 3 children whose fates were intertwined with his ambitions. Mary was the daughter of a rejected queen, Elizabeth was the daughter of an executed queen, and Edward was the son of a queen who died in childbirth. Illegitimate children, such as Fitzroy, faded into obscurity. Scandals, divorces, executions, the Reformation, destroyed families. The Tudor children lived in fear. Declared bastards, they fought for the throne. Mary burned 280 people. Elizabeth executed her cousin Mary Stuart, and Edward reformed the church. But none of them left heirs. The dynasty died out, giving way to the Stuarts. Reflecting on this, we see how power destroys. Henry wanted sons, but his children became legends through suffering. Mary is a symbol of fanaticism. Elizabeth of a golden age, Edward of lost potential. Their stories inspire films, books, and TV series because they have everything: love, betrayal, death. Thank you for listening. If this story caught your attention, share your thoughts in the comments.